This week, American real estate has once again pushed everyone's limits. Three major builders have started a crazy discount war to clear their inventory. People are saying local new home subsidies are equivalent to 20% off the entire house. Sounds great, right? But don't get too excited. There's only one reason behind such aggressive promotions. Builders are extremely pessimistic about the current housing market. Builders in California, New York, and Texas are being squeezed by a triple housing crisis. What exactly are these builders afraid of? What warning signs do the three crises they're anticipating hold for your home buying and investment decisions? If you're new here, my name is Richard. I come from a background in real estate development and architecture, and I'm excited to share my knowledge, experiences, and insights about the housing market with you. If you find my content helpful, please subscribe to my channel. Last week, we discussed three different categories in the American housing market. What left a deep impression on me was a message from a young friend in Atlanta who's been watching housing for over a year. He's planning to get married and looking to buy a home, so he's waiting for builder discounts. Without them, he simply can't afford to buy. He and his fiancée are holding out for promotions. This represents the biggest sales crisis in American real estate today, and it's affecting more than just one generation. According to Wall Street data, as of now, the average discount offered by America's top builders can reach 8% of the home price, with some approaching 10%. You heard that right. On average, they're offering 10% off. For example, if this young couple is buying a $500,000 home, they should be able to squeeze $40,000 to $50,000 out of the builder. Otherwise, they're not negotiating hard enough. They need to keep pushing. In our last episode, we listed a table of subsidies including interest rate buydowns. With rates extremely high, 6.99% this morning and heading back towards 7%, you should extract at least 2% in rate buydowns from builders. You should also get substantial credits for cash discounts or renovation allowances. Some people asked which renovation allowances are most important to request. Focus on things you can't do yourself or that are particularly expensive. Demand allowances for backyard paving, garage floor finishing, kitchen cabinet upgrades. Be aggressive with your requests. Make your sales agent and buying broker work to get you these discounts. This level of discounting used to be reserved for luxury homes worth millions, but now even D.R. Horton's $400,000 homes come with discounts and incentives. Why aren't homes selling, especially to young people? They simply can't afford them anymore. Take a look at the latest U.S. demographic report to see just how difficult it is for average Americans to buy a home today. These statistics combine sales data from many American builders on the front lines. The numbers are shocking. Is the American dream becoming increasingly distant? In 2024, 40% of new homes were sold to first-time buyers. But by the first quarter of this year, according to top American builders, first-time buyer orders had decreased by 11% compared to last year. Builder inventory of new homes has reached its highest level since the 2009 housing crisis. Builders are offering massive discounts, with prices slashed by 20%, yet young people still can't afford to buy. Speaking of young first-time buyers, there was significant debate about what I shared last month about my female classmate in Virginia, who's working hard to save for houses for her two sons, thinking men with homes might have more stable lives after marriage. Some joked. That might work in Virginia, but in California, one wedding house is the limit. Two brothers would be fighting over it. Everyone wants to help because buying a home today is truly difficult. Do you know what the average age of first-time home buyers in America is now? 38 years old, a full 10 years older than the historical average. You heard correctly. In the past, 28-year-olds bought homes. Now people approaching middle age at 38 are just making their first purchase. This is important. We often talk about aging societies as a social problem, but in real estate development planning, we also study a phenomenon called aging of home buying age. When 28-year-olds could buy their first home, we could plan ahead, secure land, develop projects, and have them ready when people were buying. This was a crucial sales indicator. Looking at demographics, we could make very stable plans for 5 to 10-year development cycles, predicting the approximate number of potential buyers. But now this indicator no longer works. Why? The age has shifted from 28 to 38. That's a 10-point shift in just 1 year. We've lost 10% of potential buyers. When you look at previous projects and land acquisitions, the market is particularly bad right now. People who should be buying at 28 are delaying, so homes aren't selling. We previously summarized the 3 key factors for residential real estate analysis: long-term population trends, medium-term policy, and short-term interest rates. See why population data is important? It's a key reference point for our long-term planning, early land acquisition, and research projects. But now, at least this year, the forecast for the future doesn't look good. People who used to buy at 28 are now waiting 3 to 5 years. This represents a major sales crisis. The severe delay in first home buying age is very unfavorable for developers. While they're clearing inventory, young people starting families and buying primary residences should push hard for discounts. Get as much as you can. Last week, we introduced an indicator for analyzing real estate to people newly interested in the market: inventory, or the housing stock in an area, which can provide a rough estimate of future price trends. It's a market evaluation indicator. Some astute newcomers asked whether there might be differences within a single city. For instance, in a California or New York City, prime locations might have homes that are impossible to get, with limited inventory in the urban core, while suburbs have abundant supply. This phenomenon is also common in many Texas cities. This is a very perceptive observation. In all established economic core areas of America, there's a pattern of saturated inventory in newly developed areas, while the old city centers still can't get enough land. Whether in California, New York, or Texas, prime locations in old city districts have almost no land left. Don't be fooled by Texas having the highest overall inventory in America. High-value assets in main urban areas are still in short supply. The difference is that California and New York, especially the Northeast, have almost no land to build on even in rural areas. The New England region, with its colonial history, is truly out of land. California is slightly better, but suburban areas are wildfire zones. Texas is different. Suburbs have land everywhere, much more abundant than New York or California. They can build anywhere. Many people are curious about how developers take a piece of vacant suburban land with no houses around and turn it into homes. How do they determine the time frame for selling these homes? Let me give you a development example. Many of my colleagues in Dallas are locals whose families have been in development for 3 generations, grandfathers, fathers, and now themselves. North of Dallas is a city called Salina. Dallas residents have certainly heard of it. It's a bit of a distance to the north. More accurately, Salina was previously a rural area, a ranch with just a few thousand residents a decade ago. When you drove there to look at land, there were more cows than cars on the road. But in just 2 or 3 years, the population has grown from a few thousand to 50,000, with projections to exceed 100,000 by 2030. In America, 100,000 people is no longer rural. It's a substantial city. With this development over the past 2 years, a house in the area, say a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom home on a 5,000 square foot lot, costs less than $500,000. When we went to Dallas to do city research for our program, in downtown Dallas, a home with these specifications would cost well over $1 million and might not even be available. But in the newly established city of Salina, you can get one for $500,000. But note this place is 40 miles from downtown Dallas. If you're commuting to Dallas for work, spending 2 to 3 hours on the road daily is normal. Pay attention if you're buying in new urban districts. Be very careful about suburban housing issues in these areas. The problems we can't solve in urban planning will become your nightmares after you buy. Typically, city planning operates on construction cycles 10 years, 20 years, 40 years, or even half a century. These different cycles have specific infrastructure development targets that must be met. Road networks, municipal facilities, schools, hospitals, and various levels of commercial centers. We provide a specific planning timeline for each. But all of these require local governments to invest real money to build. Consider a small village that previously had a few thousand people suddenly experiencing a population increase of 5 or even 10 times. You can imagine that in the short term, the infrastructure of what was essentially a rural area cannot possibly be ready. Because housing in urban areas is too expensive, many people have no choice but to move to the suburbs. This small village is forcibly transformed into a city. But its infrastructure level is absolutely not that of a city. In California, they came up with a solution called Mello-Roos, a new district construction fee. This is a special tax district law passed in California in 1982 that legally collects a new city construction tax from you. Texas doesn't use Mello-Roos, but instead uses municipal utility districts. If you've bought property in Texas, you should be familiar with this. Have you noticed a strange phenomenon in America? The higher the housing prices in a city, the harder it is to build new homes. In California, for a regular apartment building, from land acquisition to approval, do you know how long it takes? 3 to 5 years is considered fast, 5 to 8 years is normal, and some take over a decade with no resolution. Last year, the entire state of California approved less than 75% of the residential construction permits issued by the city of Dallas alone. For California, the risk is that land will never be enough. For Dallas, the risk is endless expansion and supply surges, creating greater price volatility. To attract residents to these formerly rural areas, now forced to become cities, developers create long-term plans for the future. Whether these visions will actually materialize is unknown. Infrastructure development is very lengthy. But they can draw pictures to help you imagine. Green spaces, dog parks, various dining and entertainment options. But surrounding schools, hospitals, and amenities, none exist, and when they'll come is unknown. The house you're buying is essentially a marketing package from developers and local authorities. As for how long it will take to realize those beautiful visions, well, consider yourself lucky if it's 10 years. 20 to 30 years is normal, and 40 years is not uncommon. We're now seeing 3 developer crises. 1. First-time buying age exceeding limits, fewer people buying when they should. 2. Urban land depletion, new developments getting increasingly remote. 3. Limited local fiscal capacity, requiring packaging and marketing to sell homes. Now you can understand why builders are competing with subsidies to sell homes. Let's now discuss which groups should be most vigilant in this distorted real estate market and should think twice before signing purchase agreements. Let's divide home buyers into 3 categories, identify which one you are, and your choices won't go wrong. The first category we mentioned is young first-time homebuyers. One person mentioned that he and his wife are both salaried employees with a combined annual income of about $120,000. The builder might offer a 5% interest rate buydown, amounting to $20,000 to $30,000 in promotions, which is very tempting. For first-time buyers, calculate your mortgage carefully. It should represent a proportion of your monthly salary. Around 35% is the risk line. If you're calculating 45% or higher as your housing cost, that's a major risk indicator. Once you buy, you're locked in. As we've said before, that's a 20, 30, or 40-year commitment. If, as some people have mentioned, parents can help with the down payment and you only need to handle the monthly payments, the pressure on young people is much lower. That's why I previously said many parents want to help their children. Objectively speaking, was the parent generation particularly intelligent or better at making money? Did they have superior abilities compared to their children? Perhaps not. They may have simply caught a favorable economic period with more opportunities. So why not let parents share some of that generational dividend with their children? I think everyone can understand this. The second category is advice for those who already own homes, middle-class families. Given the current first-time home buying age of 38, we're talking about people 38 to 45 and older. For example, someone asked about having an old house in the Bay Area, small and outdated, and wanting to upgrade locally to something bigger and more comfortable. Be careful here. You're not just exchanging one house for another locally. You're exchanging one risk structure for another. What does this mean? Your original house in the old Bay Area might be small, but you've been paying it off for many years. Perhaps it's already paid off. That's ideal. If you still have a mortgage, the interest rate is probably only 2 to 3%. But if you want to exchange houses now and need a loan, many new homes in the Bay Area are pushing into wildfire warning zones as development moves north and east. A couple who consulted with me last month about real estate, even though they were paying cash in the Bay Area, were already at the edge of the fire warning zone. They asked what they should be aware of. Insurance costs and fire insurance are uncertain. Your current old Bay Area house at least doesn't have the risk of insurance being randomly canceled. You need to calculate carefully to confirm the potential hidden costs of home ownership when upgrading as a middle-class family. Moving out changes your environment, address, and location. Your risk structure may also change. Be careful and cautious, both categories above concerned primary residences. The final category, investors, currently faces the highest risks and is most likely to be careless. There are many examples from investors. One person currently owns 3 properties and is thinking about renovating and selling an old investment property to make money, and then buying a new investment property. First, the biggest risk is calculating your construction timeline for the old house renovation. Let's say you're planning 4 to 6 months. That's already very fast. From what I understand from my current projects, during those 4 to 6 months, your rental cash flow is interrupted. It's now May. If you need 4 to 6 months, that puts you into October or November of the second half of the year. Think carefully. We've discussed real estate cycles. The major cycle follows economic fundamentals, while the minor cycle shows stronger first halves and relatively weaker second halves of each year. If you wait until the weaker second half, do you think homes will sell easily? Will prices be easy to negotiate? After spending half a year and investing significant money in renovations, you want a good selling price. But if you enter the second half of the year, by the time your renovations are complete, the best case scenario is meeting your previous expectations. At least the price won't lose money after renovations. But what if prices aren't good and the market is weak in the second half? If you can't sell at the price you were hoping for after spending half a year on renovations, what was the point? You've also wasted half a year's rent. Who benefits from this? This is where many people from other fields, despite being experts in their own professions, run into trouble when entering real estate. If you're new to the construction industry, renovation is a particularly deep pit. If you have no construction experience and want to practice with your investment property, I certainly wish you all the best, but you must calculate the risks and be psychologically prepared. Today, we've shared 3 major market difficulties builders are facing from a development perspective: the age gap in first-time home buying, the cost pressure of locked-in interest rates, and changes in urban planning structures. We've also discussed some of the risks that buyers might face when purchasing or investing in homes. Based on the frontline data I'm seeing, the current real estate market can be summarized as 3 won'ts. 1. Young people won't buy. 2. Middle-aged people won't upgrade. 3. Investors won't sell. For developers, this is a structural real estate market elimination round that may continue for 2 to 3 years. As we mentioned when introducing D.R. Horton, America's largest builder, the current market for these builders is about competing through discounts and promotions to move properties, making their sales figures look good to deliver results to the stock market. They're telling a story. Investors listen to stories. Even if profits aren't great, they can outperform their peers, showing respectable sales volumes. Builders aren't trying to outrun the tech giants in the stock market. They just need to outperform others in their own real estate lane. If other competitors' sales are poor, but yours are still moving, you can survive until Victory Day. Finally, I'd like to hear your perspectives. For instance, are second-hand homes more popular than new homes in your area? If buying a new home, would you prefer to buy in familiar core areas? If forced to buy slightly further out in the suburbs, how far is too far for you? I hope to see your insights in the comments. Thank you for your likes and subscriptions. Don't forget to turn on notifications so you won't miss the next exciting update.